2025 is the year of execution. Not excuses, keynotes. Excuses are the greatest thieves of destiny. Not This year will reward execution, not intention. 3. God will not bless what you refuse to start. 4. Your purpose is waiting on your obedience. 5. Fear is a liar disguised as logic. 6. Heaven responds to movement, not just prayer. 7. You can't reap what you won't sow. 2025 is a door, but only builders walk through it. As in, attribution. What if I told you that the future you've been praying for is already here, but it's waiting on you to act? That the breakthrough you fasted for, cried for, journaled about, and dreamed of is not stuck in the heavens, it's stalled in your hesitation. We are living in a time when delay is no longer an option. 2025 is not just a new chapter, it is a divine appointment. This is the year where heaven demands your movement, not your excuses. For far too long, people have been stuck in cycles of almost starting the business, almost writing the book, almost breaking free, almost answering the call. But almost is not enough. Almost will not change the world. Almost doesn't shift nations, build legacies, or fulfill purpose. In 2025, God is saying, no more almost. This is the year of execution. This is the moment where excuses must die and decisions must be made. We have entered a prophetic window where delay is disobedience. We cannot afford to be spiritually lazy or mentally distracted. The world is shaking, time is moving, and purpose is calling. This is the hour where only the disciplined, the faithful, and the focus will rise. If you're waiting for a sign, this is it. If you're waiting for permission, God already gave it. So don't sit through this message casually. Don't just listen. Lean in, write notes, let the words pierce through the fog of complacency. This message is not to entertain, it's to awaken. Something has to break inside of you. You have to snap out of sleep and step into your assignment, because 2025 is the year of execution, not excuses. Expansion of Keynote 1 approx. Excuses are more than just reasons. They are weapons formed by the enemy and disguised as logic. They are silent assassins, robbing destinies, delaying purpose, and dismantling callings. Excuses sound like wisdom, but they are often fear in camouflage. I'm not ready. I don't have the resources. Now's not the right time. These are not innocent statements. They are spiritual sedatives that lull you into comfort while your calling slips away. Let's be real. You've made excuses long enough. You've told yourself that next month would be better, that next season would be more convenient. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. You're never going to feel ready. Readiness isn't a feeling. It's a decision. And every time you delay based on comfort, you hand your future over to fear. Do you realize that entire generations have died with dreams buried in the soil of their own excuses? God gave them vision. He gave them time. He gave them the seed. But they never planted it because they were waiting for perfect conditions. The book of Ecclesiastes says, "He who observes the wind will not sow." In other words, those who wait for the perfect situation never take the first step. Execution is not about perfection. It's about obedience. God never said, be perfect. He said, be faithful. He said, go. He said, move. But we've created a culture where we worship planning and avoid action, where we feel spiritual for journaling about purpose, but we never execute it. We talk about calling, but we don't walk in it. We've replaced obedience with overthinking. But thinking doesn't build legacies, doing does. And here's the hard truth. Your excuses aren't just hurting you. They're delaying others. Someone is waiting on your obedience. Someone's healing is connected to your voice. Someone's deliverance is tied to your yes. Every time you excuse yourself from action, you rob someone else of their miracle. This is bigger than you. This is kingdom work. This is eternal work. You don't have the luxury to stay stuck. There is a war happening over your execution, and your enemy knows something you don't. You're dangerous. When you start, You're a threat when you build. So he sends fear. He sends doubt. He whispers, you're not good enough. You're too late. What if you fail? But let me tell you this. Failure is better than fear-based paralysis. God can bless effort. He can't bless excuses. Look at Moses. When God called in, his first response wasn't yes, it was, I can't speak. Excuse. When God called Gideon, his reply wasn't let's go. It was, I'm the weakest in my family. Excuse. But do you see what God did? He didn't validate the excuse. He crushed it with truth. He said, who made man's mouth? He said, I will be with you. In other words, God doesn't need your strength. He needs your surrender. So what's your excuse? Too tired, too broke, too young, too old? Look at the cross. Look at what Jesus overcame. Look at what he gave. You think your excuse is stronger than his grace, than his power, than his call on your life? Stop giving yourself permission to disobey. Excuses must bow in. This is the year where we silence the voice of limitation, where we choose movement over mediocrity, where we decide that I'm scared is not a good enough reason to sit down on destiny. This is the year of execution. And execution begins when excuses end. Hazad Keynote 2. This year will reward execution, not intention. Intentions are good, but they don't change anything. The man can intend to be a great father and still lose his family. A woman can intend to start a business and still stay broke. A believer can intend to obey God and still miss their moment. Intentions make us feel noble, but execution is what builds impact. 2025 is not the year where you get credit for almost. It's not the year where you'll be applauded for potential. This is a year of separation, where those who move will rise and those who delay will watch others take their place. Intentions are seeds, but unless planted, watered, and exposed to the sun, they'll never grow. Let this year mark a shift in your mindset. Stop saying, I want to, and start saying, I will. Stop saying, I'm praying about it, and start saying, I'm doing it. Because prayer is not a substitute for obedience. Execution is what reveals the seriousness of your faith. You can tell me your plans, but I'll believe your progress. 2025 will reward the builders. It will reward the starters. It will reward the doers. Hazad's Keynote 3. God will not bless what you refuse to start. You've been asking God to bless a vision you haven't even begun. You want him to multiply your idea, but you haven't taken step one. You want him to bring increase, but you've sown nothing. God doesn't bless laziness. He blesses faith in motion. When Peter stepped out of the boat, the water didn't harden until his foot moved. The miracle didn't come before the motion. It came after. Some of you are standing on the edge waiting for God to give you a sign. Here's your sign. Move. Start. Risk. Begin. Because faith without works is dead, and faith without execution is just religious fantasy. What are you waiting for? The stars to align? Everyone to support you? A perfect moment? Let me tell you, obedience is your moment. Heaven is waiting for your yes, not your delay. You don't have to know all the steps. Just take the next one. When you start, God shows up. When you act, heaven backs you up. But he will not anoint what you keep postponing. Hazad Keynote 4. Your purpose is waiting on your obedience. Purpose doesn't fall out of the sky. It is unlocked through obedience. The enemy wants you to believe that you're confused, unsure, and uncertain. But here's the truth. You already know the first thing you need to do. Obedience is not complicated. It's hard, but it's simple. When God called Noah, he gave him no crowd, no signs, no applause, just an assignment. Build the ark. That's it. And Noah built for 100 years before the rain came. Purpose often looks like obedience in secret, execution in silence, faithfulness in obscurity. But those who obey when no one's watching are the ones God uses when everyone is looking. If you want to unlock your assignment in 2025, don't chase outcomes. Chase obedience. Say yes before you know the details. Say yes even if it costs you. Say yes when it doesn't make sense. God is not looking for those with talent. He's looking for those who will trust. Azad. Keynote 5. Fear is a liar disguised as logic. Fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It says, be wise, wait a little longer, make sure everything's perfect. But if you look deeper, it's not wisdom. It's fear wrapped in logic. Fear is a professional deceiver. It dresses up as caution, as responsibility, even as humility. But it's still fear. Fear wants you to delay until your destiny dries up. It wants you to overthink until your opportunity dies. But God hasn't given you a spirit of fear. He's given you power, love, and a sound mind. In 2025, you must learn to identify and silence the voice of fear. The way to kill fear is not to wait until you're fearless, it's to move in spite of fear. You don't overcome fear with more information. You overcome fear with action. Every step you take in faith crushes the lies fear told you. And soon you'll realize fear was never as big as it pretended to be. Hazad Keynote 6, heaven responds to movement, not just prayer. Prayer is powerful. Prayer is essential. But prayer alone does not substitute for execution. Too many people are hiding behind prayer because they're afraid to act. They say, I'm waiting on the Lord. But the Lord has already spoken. He's waiting on you. In the book of Exodus, when Moses cried out to God at the Red Sea, God didn't say, keep praying. He said, why are you crying to me? Tell the people to move forward. In other words, stop praying and start walking. There comes a moment when you stop asking for direction and start obeying the direction already given. In 2025, your actions are prayers too. When you start the business, heaven sees it. When you pick up the pen, when you show up, when you serve, that's prayer in motion. This year, your execution will echo louder in heaven than your words. Don't just say it, do it. Hod says, Keynote 7, you can't reap what you won't sow. Harvest doesn't come to the wishful. It comes to the sowers. You want results? So you want success? So you want influence? So you cannot expect a return on seeds you never planted. Your future depends on your sowing today. Sowing is hard. It requires faith. It means letting go of what's in your hand for something you cannot yet see. But if you don't sow now, you'll be empty later. And let's be clear, execution is sowing. Every action, every step of faith, every small task, it's all seed. In 2025, you must outsow your excuses. Let your effort be louder than your complaints. You can't blame God for a harvest you never pursued. He's given you the ground. He's given you the time. Now he's asking, will you sow? Will you execute? Hazeh Keynote 8, 2025 is a door, but only builders walk through it. This year is a door, a divine opportunity, but not everyone will walk through it. Only the builders, only the movers, only the ones who are done talking and ready to construct something real. The future will not be built by the loudest voices. It will be built by the strongest hands. What will you build in 2025? A ministry? A business? A disciplined life? A transformed mindset? Whatever it is, it starts with a brick. One action, one day, one step. The door will not wait forever. You must walk through it while it's open. And make no mistake, you were born for this moment. You are not here by accident. You are not hearing this message by chance. This is your door. Will you walk through it? Or will you let it close behind you? Conclusion. You've listened long enough. You've sat in the tension of truth. Now the choice is in your hands. You can walk away inspired but unchanged, or you can walk away different. This message wasn't given to excite you. It was sent to ignite you. This is your line in the sand. This is your burning bush moment. This is your time to put your hand to the plow and not look back. 2025 will not wait for you. Time is not pausing. Heaven is not silent. The clock is ticking and the window is open, but not forever. So rise up, build, speak, write, move, begin. Let the world see a generation that doesn't just dream, but executes. Let hell tremble because you finally believed enough to act. Let heaven rejoice because one more soul chose obedience over excuses. 2025 is the year of execution, not excuses, and the world is about to witness what happens when you finally move. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. But more than anything, Thank you for deciding that this year your faith won't just speak, it will build. Now go, execute, and never look back.